Well, let's back up and go talk a little bit about Iraq and what you experienced, but then maybe some of the things you saw or kind of figured out and kind of what your thoughts are about the war in general.
When you think about joining the military,
Uh-huh.
I was thinking about it in terms of, well, in 20 years, I might have a pension. And
Right.
thank God I did that. It was like one of those good decisions. Where's the downside to joining the military? Well, there's a few. One, you could get killed or you could get maimed, so you're taking a big risk. And politicians gamble with people's lives.
I'll say for
You
wrong
just,
reasons a lot of the time, most
you
of the
know,
time.
on- once you do the oath and you enlist or what have you, you don't have any control. You're going to dance where they tell you to.
That's
You
right.
know, and so you have to hope and pray. I was worried that I was in the army for 17 years.
Right.
So Iraq was a hot mess, and we didn't know where Saddam Hussein was. It was like, what? Where's Waldo? Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
And so once the kinetic operations were over in May,
Uh-huh.
do you remember when George Bush landed on the aircraft carrier and they had that big banner that said, victory?
Oh yeah.
And it was
Oh
like, I
yeah.
wish I could just take that banner and shove it up some staffer's ass,
No
because there's a
doubt.
hell of a lot more that's going to happen. And then after that, um, boy, I mean, it was like all of a sudden it was like Homer Simpson was in charge. It's like,
Jeez.
what do you guys think? What are we trying to do here? And it took a long time. At the same time, an insurgency developed,
Hmm.
and we got to know things like, what is an IED, an
Yeah.
improvised explosive device, and we didn't have any up armored nothing. The Humvees that we took from Iowa uh, had vinyl doors, so we just took the doors
Wow.
off. I mean, we had our asses, we had our collective asses in our hands at all times. We we were a true danger to ourselves.
Oh yeah. And those IEDs, man, they did some major damage to a lot of people.
Yeah, and most of the components came out of Iran. Uh, so eventually, in 2005, Big Daddy came to save the day, which was I'm speaking of David Petraeus,
Uh-huh.
and he took over what was going on in both Afghanistan and Iraq, and then that's when you had the surge. So we had Donald Rumsfeld, Mr. Do More with Less, and you go to war with the army you have, not the army you want. And we were stretched pretty thin, and it pretty much it broke the Army Reserve, and so yeah, there's a lot of things that we still are affected by the traumatic brain injuries that people suffered,
Oh yeah.
and you still have organizations trying to help veterans with their housing and things like that. So it's and now you see the kids nowadays. It's kind of like it was weird. Steve, it's like I enlisted, I became an officer, and didn't know shit from Shinola, and the next thing you know, you get a deployment or two under your belt, and all of a sudden you're the old guy,
Jeez.
you know. And so at the end of the day, uh, Obama was president, and he agreed with most of the troopers, which was, we got to get the hell out of here, because they will continue to take the largesse of the American people as long as you keep on giving it to them, you know?
Right.
And it was like the Lawrence Arabia thing where he said that, and this is going to sound a little bit racist, but he said, you can do for the Arabs, you can do a job perfectly for the Arabs, or you can allow them to do it for themselves. And so, if it's like if you increase SNAP benefits, for example, are people going
Right.
to are people going to take him? Sure,
Yeah,
they are.
absolutely.
You know, I mean, under President Obama, the number of people on with SNAP benefits, for example, went from 10% to 15%.
Oh yeah, they just recently uncovered a lot about that too.
But um, the thing is, though, in my book cover, I have a woman with a purple finger,
Okay.
and in 2005 they had a free and fair election, and so the way that the Iraqis did their election integrity was that they would you had to dip your finger in ink,
Oh
right?
really?
And that way you couldn't vote twice.
Right.
So it was low tech and it worked, and it was a free and fair election.
It's the only
But
way it will work is going back to in person, same day, not moving ballots
pa-
around to count,
pa-
all that crap.
paper ballots, yeah, I
100%.
agree with you.
Yeah.
But as I would tell people, Steve, in order to understand the war in Iraq, you have to look through the lens of the Sunni Shia schism. So most Americans have no idea what you're talking about as soon as you say that.
Right.
But within Islam, right, as soon as Muhammad died, there was a power play between his uncle and his nephew as far as who was going to be in charge.
Yep.
And within their system, the Grand Poobah, it's sort of like the archbishop and the mayor is the same guy in your city. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So not only is the civil authority, but also the religious and moral authority is this it all pinnacles of one person.
Right.
You know? And so for 1400 years, these two sects of Islam have been terrorizing each other. And within Iraq itself, of a country of about 36 million people, it's about 6 million are Kurds. It's one of the most conquered people of all times.
Hmm.
And then the other 30 million are Arabs, of which the vast majority were Sunni. And I'm sorry, the vast majority are Shia.
Shia. Shia.
Shia. And Saddam Hussein was nominal. Well, Saddam Hussein was a psychopath. His hero, the man that he wanted to emulate, was Joseph Stalin.
Oh, geez.
But he was a Ba'athist, which is basically a socialist.
Yep.
But once the militias started running amok, and all the Americans, we're in our base camps at night, and they were, settling scores. So I was in Baghdad that first time in 2003 and 4. It was crazy, Steve, because you've got a city of 8 million people, and you had like 25,000 troopers, or you had 50,000 troopers max in the entire country, the size of Texas.
Jeez.
And so people, the force was stretched really thin, and eventually it got broken pretty good.
I'll bet. That's crazy.
But they had a free and fair election in 2005. The Shia were the majority, and so the Shia women, when they voted, they dipped their fingers in purple ink, and they wouldn't wash it off because they were proud that they could actually help determine their own political futures.
The men didn't have to do the dipping, just the women.
Oh, I must have been everybody, but it was iconic because the women wouldn't wash off the ink because, hey, after 30 years of living under Saddam Hussein,
yeah, they could finally vote.
And so, if you ask the question, who won the war? Well, they have something of a functioning democracy. They have a legal system.